So before I even get started, this is a personal opinion. Now, you might identify with some of these talking points, but if you've already saw the title of the video and you're already up in arms, like waiting for me to say something that you could use against me or whatever nonsense, by all means, go ahead. But I'm going to give my opinion, and I hope that you can listen until the end and maybe we can have an open dialogue, because as gamers, this is something we do need to talk about. So again, at the beginning of the year's, announcement in 2020 about PS5, Xbox Series X, I mean, like right out the gate, right? PlayStation nor Xbox did anything to mitigate the scalpers screwing us over, taking up all the supply. We hardworking regular gamers have been funding them for their entire existence. Magically, we're at like this point where like now we can't get our hands on it. And even still right now in 2022, we're still hearing about how people are finally getting a PS5 after all these years. And it's to the point where it can be seen as nothing more than ridiculous, right? So that's like the first thing. You basically, for the first 2 years of this console's existence, both of them, you were literally in a position where you had no choice but to pay a markup. In my case, I paid $1,600 between two consoles, okay? That's $800 a piece. That's not worth it, right? Because of all the things I'm about to mention next. Now, I feel like a total idiot because I basically paid $1,600 to play like 4 games. And I'm not even joking, like, these are the 4 games. Like, you see that, right? Like, this is it. These are all the unique reasons I have to own PlayStation and Xbox. That's it. We've got Forza Horizon 5, okay? But the thing about Forza Horizon 5, that's already on Windows PC and it plays better. So that reason's already out the door. We have Horizon Forbidden West. This is going to be a limited launch exclusive if Sony continues with their porting over to PC like we've been seeing with all of their exclusives. Again, this is limited time only. So, I mean, really, unique reason to play? Not really, okay? We've got Ratchet and Clank. Maybe a stronger chance this stays on the console. Maybe. But yeah, okay. I actually saw the power with Ratchet and Clank, so that was nice. It was like one of their like demo, tech demo, like showcase pieces, okay? And then we've got Dad of War. This particular one has me very salty. And I'll tell you why, because like it is a direct copy and paste from last gen to now. So much so that when people look at it and they analyze it, they can almost not really tell much of a difference. It's almost negligible. And that's a problem. Because in a recent article that comes out from Engadget, they're talking about how now Xbox is looking to raise their prices to $70. This is massive news because this is basically what I was talking about way back when. I got called out of my name, attacked every which way for saying they would continue to do this across the board. And everybody was like, no, it's just 2K. They're just the greediest, all these other people. And I was like, no, Xbox and Sony are totally going to do this. And now here we are like 2 years later, right? You still want to call me names? Probably, but you'd be wrong because I tell you what, $70 and the reasons that they give piss me off. They want to claim that it's to basically, in a nutshell, account for the scope and scale and the technical difficulty and expertise that's required to build these awesome next-gen games. But then when you look at a game like this, okay, Dad of War, this is a fucking copy and paste. No matter if you love it or hate it, you know for a fact the way he runs, the way he swings his axe, a lot of this is a copy and paste from the last game. And it does look very identical to the last game, or at least to the last gen console, I will say. And it's so bad to the point where it's like, did you really get your $70 out of that to see untapped potential of that console? And for me, the answer is no. You look at every other case example where they've charged $70. Look at Gotham Knights, for example. It runs at 30 FPS exclusively on console. Do you have any inkling of an idea how disrespectful that is when they've told you that the scope and the scale is the reason you're being charged an extra $10 from last gen? They're doing it just because they can. And this is coming in a time where things are already inflated and they're already using every excuse in the book, from COVID to the chip shortage, everything they can get their hands on. If it's not a nailed down reason, they are throwing it at you, right? Every excuse in the book that is not nailed down, they are going to throw it at you and pretend like you're dumb. But here's where now me, being a PC gamer, I can step in and see this as nothing more than them thinking you're stupid as a console gamer. They want to say the scope and the scale is all the reasons why they have to overcharge, but then at the same time, games like Gotham Knights run at 60 FPS and you can max it out however you want. You can put mods and all that stuff. And spoiler alert, I didn't pay no damn $70 for it, okay? And that's the problem here. On PC, I'm paying like, what did it cost me on Black Friday sale? It was like what, I think I picked it up for like 40 bucks, 49 bucks, 44 bucks. It was like next to nothing. It was no big deal. Console guys still have to pay what they pay, whatever, okay. But it's kind of like you're getting the short end of the stick buying these machines, and enter the regret. Because here you paid $1,600 for these devices, for two of them, PS5, Xbox Series X, very hard to find. And now you're in a position where there's almost next to nothing unique to play on them. Of course, multiplats exist. We all know that. And it does account for a lot of the player base. Fantastic. But what we were talking about, unique reasons to be a gamer on that machine. Like, why should I do business with you versus Joe Schmo down the street? Usually businesses have a unique selling feature, a unique selling point. All my friends have it is not going to be good enough when everything is going to continue to raise in price. They are now talking about raising the prices of their hardware, which we've never seen in any gaming generation history, ever. Go down the list. No one time in history have we ever seen the gaming companies saying, not only are we going to make the games more expensive, but we're also going to go back after we've already set a price for the consoles, and we're going to double dip and we're going to raise the price of our hardware. The same exact hardware. It's not more powerful. You're not getting anything more out of it. It's the same exact device and is coming to you at more of a cost. And the reason they're doing this is because they saw the scalpers that they let buy up all the inventory, making more money people were willing to pay out of desperation. Basically, it's the diamond mentality. You know how like one company owns pretty much all of the world's supply more or less of diamonds and therefore inflates the cost of diamonds and people think they're more valuable than they actually are because they artificially create supply and demand? Sony and Xbox are doing the same exact fucking thing. And it's disgusting because we're watching it before our very eyes, the death of the gaming industry. You can have your opinion about this, right? I have mine. But there is no doubt that when you artificially attribute false value to something, you are destroying it. And I can safely say this because I'm looking at these games that are coming out, these $70 games. They're not like noteworthy. They're not like, oh my God, let me throw open my wallet, right? Because I've never seen visuals like this. They are not doing that. It is 2022 and we have yet to even see one Unreal Engine 5 game. It exists, but they're still building it on Unreal Engine 4. They're still giving us excuses. And it gets to a point where we have to really, as gamers, stop. You have to like literally bring them to heel by not buying, because it gets so bad that like all we ever do is talk on our social medias about it, right? You'll hear a video like mine and you'll be like, oh, this is a critical take, or I don't like this direction, or I don't like how they're going with this. But also, I do want that brand new COD. Let me shell out the money that they're asking for it. Every time you do that, you are still telling them, hey, I'm going to whine, I'm going to bitch, piss, and moan. But in the end, you can do whatever you want because I'm still going to pay you. And when that happens, you're never going to see the gaming industry change for the better. Instead, quite the opposite. You're going to see them look at you like, okay, these kids are throwing a temper tantrum. I have kids. I've seen that before. Boo-hoo. Cry. Now go do what I told you to do. And that's kind of how this is playing out. You need to remind these corporations that you have the power, you're in control, you're the consumer. Because without that power balance being very well understood, that the consumers control the market, if the consumers don't want to buy, the market crashes, their stocks go down, they have overstock, and then they're not moving into units, they're not making any money. That's when they understand, like, we need to deliver something for our customers, right? The MCU magically gets it now, and now they're willing to change their direction with Phase 5, because Phase 4 was a total fucking flop. But, like, this is what I'm talking about. It gets so bad to the point where, like, we're here watching it now. Price increase after BS reason as to why it's happening. And as somebody who's been a lifelong gamer and somebody who's really passionate about televisions and all things revolving around really home theater and display tech, it gets disheartening because I'm watching every reason to own media kind of crumble before my eyes. They want to attach DRM. They want to make digital libraries and then remove the rights later, like what Sony did. If it's not anti-consumer from Sony or somebody else, it's some other move. And as consumers, as gamers, we've got to have an open dialogue about this. So what I would like is I would like to hear from you as to what you think we could do as gamers to send a better message and how we can change this so that we're not just on the receiving end of whatever arbitrary price increase they attribute, and like what kind of checks and balances should be put in place to ensure that when they say that the reason they're charging more money is because the scope and the scale of the game is actually better, and then we see it actually is better. Like, what could we do differently? You guys will have to let me know in the comment section down below. But as always, I want to thank you guys so much for watching the number one brand in honesty. Those are my reasons as to why I regret buying the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X, and really in a nutshell, It's just greed and not enough delivery on the promises that we've been sold on. Got all this power, can't use it. Stuck on PC. So that's kind of how it is right now for me. But again, would love to hear from you down below. Till the next video, see you guys later.